Welcome to Conversate, our podcast where we engage in conversation. On this week's episode, I, Aaron, am sitting down with Marcus Huff, our Director of Youth and Campus Ministry, who is back from his 3-month sabbatical this summer. And so we're talking reflections on that time away and learnings, experiences, and just seeing God's hand in it all. So we hope, as always, that this conversation is inspirational to you and that it inspires you to start another conversation about Jesus with somebody else. We hope you enjoy it.
I've actually got to the point where I don't eat it anymore. My whole family's eating it. Like, you want ice cream? No. We had so much as kids growing up. We always had like 3 flavors in the freezer at almost all times. And ice cream was just such a staple that I'm like, I could care less about ice cream.
It's not necessarily my go-to either. I can take it or leave it, but my wife and kids love it. And then we were at my parents' house for vacation, and my mom, it was like a month before we got there, but there was a sale on ice cream at the grocery store. So like, I want to say there were like 40 pints of ice cream in their freezer.
Wow.
For a week. They didn't get through it all. So hey, we should officially cheers and say hi.
Hi.
Well, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Good to be back on the couch.
Yeah,
this is the first time I sat on the couch in probably close to over 3 months, maybe 4 months.
Wow. And I like to see how you settled right onto one cushion and not 2.
Oh yeah. I'm fully committed to one seat here. So
it's just Kevin.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
He also takes the middle seat in cars too. So I think that's just how he rolls. He just kind of, it's a power move.
Yeah.
Gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, I guess. So we're going to talk about him while he's not here. But yeah, Marcus, it's good to have you back. For those who may not know, because you're not on the podcast every week anyways.
Right.
But you were on a 3-month sabbatical this summer, and just getting back. So this last Sunday you were able to do a presentation to the church and kind of share about the sabbatical and stuff. But I think there's a lot of people who weren't there, and so we can we'll just chat maybe about life, sabbatical, time off. I don't know, whatever.
All the joys of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's such a blessing to be able to have a sabbatical even be an option. I'll go that far back. It's just, it's not something, it's something biblically like commanded, invited, suggested, and then strongly commanded to take like a Sabbath day and to practice it in that way. It's something that is encouraged by our district, and something that's like even in our bylaws for us to practice as well. But then it takes a whole time of, it takes a vulnerability in saying, hey, can I actually take one of these, or can we use it? And you were kind of the first to take and build that pathway for us as staff and making that happen. But it's neat where we live with Michigan Tech and so many school professionals. The idea of a sabbatical isn't completely foreign, and it's aware of from a secular perspective. But even from a faith perspective, it's something that it's interesting to communicate to and speak to and actually live out, even in our professional church worker pastoral roles that we have as well too. So
yeah, and so just I guess for the listeners too, I can't remember if we might have done a pre-sabbatical episode. I can't even remember, but yeah, that. You're mentioning biblically speaking, sabbatical is commanded. So you're referencing even, what we would number as the 3rd commandment in the 10 commandments. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. So Sabbath, or the Hebrew word Shabbat, literally means, it's a word that means to rest.
Yeah.
And so there's all kinds of biblical. When we get to Jesus' life, there's this whole like debate about the Sabbath, and the Jews think that Jesus is breaking the Sabbath because the Jews, received it as a law from God, almost as something that they had to do in order to kind of stay right with God. Jesus reframes that as Jesus does with the law of God, and helps us realize that the law of God is actually for our good. It's for our benefit. So the keeping of Sabbath and intentional rest time, deliberate rest time, is not something that we need to do in order to earn favor with God. It's not something that we need to do to make ourselves right with God. It's Jesus saying this is basically a gift for you.
Yeah.
Sabbath was made for you, and so do it. And then biblically speaking, there's lots of different kinds of Sabbaths in the Old Testament. So there's the weekly Sabbath, but then also there are other kind of times of Sabbath, even like the fields being given time to rest every 7 years and turn those over. And so Sabbath, is usually related to even the number 7 and kind of an organizing principle there too. So.
Yeah. And then follow that up. I mean, we started ours by going to the fields of Iowa. I mean, that was the first spot we went, So we took off and went for it. But it is that kind of reorientating too. And there's whole Bible studies on it and getting into it too. But it's that reframing to a God who rests in the creation narrative.
Well, what's that?
And that push. So
instead of there's one that a conference that you've been to in the past. Who's that author? Then they have they do have a Bible study online thing, right?
On Sabbath, John Mark Comer, Practicing the Way.
Okay, so that's something. Anybody can go check out, right? On
free
just
resources on that. Or I have stuff in my office as well. So a great way to deep dive into it and kind of walk through it and approach it where you're at, a little bit by little bit. And like you were saying, it's that invitation to participate, to engage. I think about it working on my kids, so they're younger, and my 8-year-old has his own opinions on things these days. But hey, come with me. Okay. Come with me. Like last night, I said, hey, come with me. It was trash day today, and I need garbage tags. It's the last minute. It's 8:15 at night, and I have to go hunt and gather, and come with me. And he's like, oh yeah, and then he's like, nah, and he's like, oh yeah, and then he's like, nah, and then he stays home, and I come back, and everything kind of blew up at home. He should have come with me. They've been better off. I think with the Sabbath, usually this opportunity, God's calling us to this thing. He's not pulling us. I didn't pull him into the car. I didn't make him come with me, but he's invited to it and going once you do it, you're like, oh, that was good. That was really good. So yeah, we used Sabbath not as I tell our confirmation kids, it doesn't mean just sit on the couch and watch TV. That's not the idea of Sabbath, but it's a day to delight and play and worship. And for our family, that looks a lot like being out in nature and adventuring. It's a rest from your work. So I was away from this place, and my roles were handed over to other people and supported. And thank you to all the volunteers and staff and to yourself for making that possible. But then we went and we played, and it was restful in a different way, just because it was a way of reconnecting with family, which was part of the core purpose of it for us, and just doing life 24/7 and adventuring. So we started off with basically what turned into a 5-week adventure. We left May 1. There was snow on our car that morning, and so let's get out of here. Wow. Let's start heading south, and we worked our way down. Got to go to our nephew's confirmation in Iowa, where Laura's my wife Laura, her family is, and spent some time there. And then we just kept going south, and we hit different adventures. And this is the first time in our young family's time that we've actually done a vacation. We've only just visited. Vacation's always been seeing family, which is amazing. But there's something to going on a vacation that is on your own and building in that way. So, but we took things in like a giant aquarium and museum at the Big Daddy Bass Pro Center in Missouri, and delighting in that. And there's a huge Christian message to the formation of that whole organization, which I had no idea about.
Bass Pro Shop?
Bass Pro Shop, yeah. The creator, But just opportunity to be in God's creation and being there. And it was just neat to sit there, and you had the option of watching this intro video with the founder of the company and how important it is to be in God's creation. And it was this huge faith testimony as you started, and then the screen moved away, and you kind of went through this whole museum and aquarium, and everything. So that was awesome.
I just learned on vacation because we were in Minnesota and I went to Cabela's. Mm-hmm. And when we were at Cabela's, they had a whole bunch of like Bass Pro Shop apparel and stuff. And I was like, aren't I at Cabela's? And so while I was in Cabela's, I was like, because Bass, I mean, they, they're kind of like the same thing. But I guess Bass Pro Shop bought Cabela's. Yeah. It was years ago already, but they kind of kept the two distinct things wherever they were already. But
so super cool experience, something different and fun. And then we camped outside Tulsa, Oklahoma, and went to awesome green space in the middle of Tulsa. I love coffee, so I was always hunting for a really good cup of coffee along the way. Had some really good coffee there at Ethical Coffee. And then from there, we were with some college friends. My buddy, who's a pastor at Summit in Aledo, Texas, outside Fort Worth. And we stayed with them. I got to go see Dave Matthews in Dallas. Nice. We went camping again in Texas. And I mentioned to you too, like I think last week, just the idea of the further south you go camping, every state south adds an extra insect or animal that could potentially get you as you sleep outside in nature. So by the time we're in Texas, it was at the state park where we're at, it was alligators, tarantulas, snakes. And they didn't even mention fire ants, but it was just like common knowledge, unless you're not from there. And then, anyways, we didn't take any campfire wood with because there was no room for it. So we always just kind of pillaged around the campsite, but like it was super sketcy. Wow. I thought I'd see a hairy spider or a snake would come up and get me. So,
dude, I forgot to tell you. Well, while you were gone, Abby and I went on a 20th anniversary vacation to Mexico.
Congrats.
Thank you. And our last day of vacation, our last day of vacation, we were walking out, and first thing in the morning, we'd grab a cup of coffee and just go, dip our toes in the ocean and kind of. I mean, we didn't watch the sunrise; it was already up, but just kind of saw dolphins splash and all that good stuff.
Nice.
And as we were walking out, kind of the resort to the beach, this younger girl goes, "They caught a crocodile out there." And I was like, huh. And she goes, "Yeah, it's tied to the lifeguard stand." I was like, "Where?" She goes, "Just right here." And we're like, "No way." So we could just walk right onto the beach from our resort, and we walk out, and there's a lifeguard stand right there. There's like this Mexican Crocodile Dundee guy. I mean, he's got a hat on, he's shirtless. Shirtless, that's the right word. Yes, he has shorts on. And there's a crocodile, maybe 10 feet long, tied to this lifeguard stand. And I'm a dumb American,
right?
Because it's just laying there, and I can see that it's tied up. So I just go walking pretty close to it.
It's like an Instagram video. This is about a reel about losing your foot.
And start taking pictures of it because it's just still. And he put like a towel over its eyes or something, so I don't think it could see. But then it started thrashing, and I wasn't that close, but I was close enough that I jumped, and we got out of there. But then we watched this whole ordeal, and the police ended up coming and hog tying it and taping it and carrying it away. But then I just heard it was while we were on vacation. We were talking about this, and a relative said, "I think this is a little morbid. Somebody just got killed in Puerto Vallarta where we were by a crocodile in the ocean." I was like, "No way." We looked it up in June, just a couple weeks after we were there. A dude got dragged out into the water by a crocodile.
Oh my goodness.
And died. And I was like, I did not know that was a threat while we went on this trip and enjoyed the ocean. So I'm glad that was the last day. And
our similar ocean experience, we were blessed to be able to go to Hawaii, and we were in Hawaii, and we were at the beach where Bethany Hamilton had been attacked by a shark.
You went to that same beach?
We were at that same beach, and my wife kept mentioning this idea of sharks. I'm like, no, it's fine, like blah, 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 blah. The next week, shark sightings at that beach. We're all in that space. And I was like, oh, this is why I don't like snorkeling. But anyways, that was wild, but crazy. Yeah.
So you're in Texas.
We're in Texas.
There's lots of insects,
bugs, a lot of friends down there. We got a lot of extended family and friends in Texas. So we were there. We camped. We hung out with your brother and sister-in-law and their family, which are good friends for ours. Seth and Emily introduced us way back in the day. That's how my wife Laura and I met. Not you and me, but my wife and I. And neat being with good guy friends and who are like pastoring churches and seeing them preach and being in those spaces. And then we got a chance to go to Hawaii. We were out there for about 10 days and we flew out with the boys and repacked our gear and just delighted in God's creation and beauty and just worshiping in nature, from like jungly hikes to mountains to oceans to sea creatures and stuff that we'd never seen before, and turtles on beaches, and just got to see some sunrises with the 6-hour time change difference, and just going like, wow, what an awesome creative God we have, that there's so much diversity, you know. And that was part of the cool thing about road tripping, from basically the top of the U.S. to the bottom of the U.S. And then flying, in the middle of an ocean. Yeah, it's just wild. Yeah, just wild. So
when you were, I think you were telling me just a little bit of the learnings or the insights that come, in this long sabbatical time. And you were saying like in Hawaii and stuff too, just trying to orient yourself around, like even slowing down and being present with the boys and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like, trying to, I think like there's that, I don't know. There's a fine balance between like living, like I think you said like Sabbath is not just sitting around doing nothing. Right. Like it's still purposeful living. It might incorporate doing nothing. But I think there's that balance between like, we're in Hawaii, we've come all this way, we got to do all the things, versus also just be and slow down and enjoy and be present with the boys who just want to splash in the pool. But it's like, but we can go to a pool.
It was that tension of like, I need to like justify every single moment or fill it all up. And it was still within the first month. And so I was still like coming down from do.
Like vacation in work mode?
Kind of. And that sense of just filling up every moment, and sometimes filling that up is being less busy or less hurried and just sitting and being good in that space. And I'm not really good at that, I realized. I'm really good at like avoiding or maybe numbing out, but I'm not really good in resting. And there's two different things I'm still unpacking. But yeah, being able to be there where we were there for about 10 days and had the opportunity to have like 2 Mondays and 2 Tuesdays helped me kind of slow down. And, we're right by the ocean, but the boys want to play in the pool, which is also amazing because, we live in the UP. There's not a lot of pools around per se that you can swim in May. And it was just an opportunity to like slow down and just be, and going, oh, I get another one of these, and just like I get another Sabbath in a week. Awesome. And like looking forward to that and delighting in that as well. So that was just amazing. And then
I know for me, like when I was on sabbatical, I was looking for my one purchase I wanted to make on sabbatical was to get a meaningful hat.
Okay.
And I kept striking out, and then I found this hat with the message, slow yourself down. And I was like, that's a good sabbatical hat, and that's a good hat for Aaron in general, because I'm a future oriented person. Yeah. And I kind of play that role in our family, even of like moving things along. I'm kind of the driver, and so so just learning to I kind of like, so I wear that hat on vacations or on particular days where it's like, Aaron, just slow yourself down. Like, this is not about you or your agenda. Just
right.
I don't know. That's hard, man. I mean, and our culture doesn't necessarily affirm that. I don't think. I don't know. At the living room when it gets open, which is also this is a opportunity and patience for me, because we're having to slow down. But one of our key themes there is we've got a tagline: slow down, be known, come alive in Christ. And it's just that, like, But our culture doesn't. Our culture validates, I think, activity, busyness. Just go, 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 go.
Yeah. And that's why I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to like even talk about sabbatical, because when was the last time you got to summarize 3 months of your life to other people? Like it's a foreign thing to do to begin with. And I don't feel like I need to like justify it, but we did so many cool things, but it's that tension of like, we did a bunch of stuff, but also there's a lot of delight in seeing things in that space. Or what was so our style of traveling, like, we didn't have a lot of plans pre-made. So part of the slowing ourselves down was like, well, we'll just drive as far as we want to and find a camping spot and camp there.
Was that hard? Like for you personally?
Yes and no. I mean, I spent like the huge chunk of time before I left planning for a bunch of church trips and events that I wasn't part of. And all the logistics are like pretty tight. They're pretty, ironed out and figured out. I love the idea of whimsy and spontaneity. In some environments it works out really well, in other ones not so much. What was really nice was not having the time constraint to come back to, or like I had to we got to fit this in a week. Going like, well, okay, we can be gone for as long as we want. And in my head, I always had like contingencies built out, like going like, all right, something happens, I need to get home. I can be home in like 2 days, or and timing it out in that way. But I was also encouraged by someone about it. He said, when you leave, try not to basically the advice was try not to control like the narrative of your family, that system. Just an idea comes up, just say yes. Just be a yes person. Just kind of like go with the flow and try to like embody slowing down a lot in that way. So that was good. But I purposely was trying to look for like beauty in nature when I was out. I had to keep reminding me that. Sometimes I was like hiking with the kids and it was like, I'm focusing too much on like getting to the destination versus just like being in the moment. And I was like, come on, so we saw different things.
That's just that childlike wonder, right? Where they stop on the side of the trail and pick up a leaf or a stick. And it's like, look at this.
I know.
But we gotta get over there.
I know. We went for a walk in Masahito recently, and we went for a walk in Masahito. It was in the definition of what our family was supposed to do. And within 3 minutes, the boys are climbing trees, and that's all they want to do is climb trees. And they watch them bend, and they pop off the tree. And I'm like, but we're here for a walk. And God has placed my wife in my life for these moments. And she said, it's okay. If you need to walk, you can walk. But we're going to delight in this moment. And so I stayed and delighted in that moment. But it is funny how that does the physical practice or mindset or just how you do stuff aids or complicates your ability to like see wonder in what you're doing. Way back when I was in British Columbia before here, I had a cool experience in one of the native villages, and I really had fun with this image of a hummingbird, and it was connected to a death situation and new life, new beginnings, all kinds of symbolism of that. But since then, I've always had a thing for hummingbirds. I've always liked hummingbirds and things like that. So as I was traveling and aware of all these deathly insects, I was kind of like wondering like what would be maybe an image that would come animal wise in my time and space here, this new chapter kind of thing like that. And anyways, when I was here, I loved to exercise and hike up Mount Ripley in the summertime. And as I would get up there in the slowing down, because I was out of shape and I was needing to breathe, God put like monarch butterflies like dancing along. And it was this neat part when I would hike the top ridge. Oftentimes there was one or two monarch butterflies that would like flutter alongside me, and one would stop and one would kind of pick up. And it was just kind of this neat reminder of God walking with us, or this beauty and the slowing down. And then, I don't know, monarchs are pretty cool for how far they travel and they migrate. It's insane, this little beautiful insect, and the
transformative life of
yeah.
Hey, if you want to delight in any monarchs while Pastor Kevin is away, we are currently housing and growing their chrysalis into monarchs at our house. Have you ever done that?
We have. We have at our house as well. We didn't this year, so we're getting to delight in theirs. But they were while they're gone, they delivered. Yeah, they were already in the chrysalis. Okay.
I think there were 5 of them, 2 of them in the last 2 days have already
Okay.
launched, and we let them out and stuff. And
Super cool.
so the kids were naming them based on what plant the monarch first landed on. So
Okay.
one is named Maple and one is named Aspen.
Nice. Which I feel like are like normal kid names today anyway. So I feel like
Yeah, right.
I was going for like pine or skunkweed or something like that.
That would be the next one. Pile of poo.
Dad shoe. Funny ones. But anyways, there's more stories to it, and love again to share more, keep unpacking it as come back and transition back in. But again, such a blessing to be able to be on sabbatical, have this space, come back. People have asked, like, are you coming back just like so well rested? And I was like, it's kind of hard with an 8 and a 5-year-old to like feel rested like in that kind of way, but rested in like a different way in the sense of, sometimes you do work, you do ministry, you do life, and you just get so elevated, like your feet aren't on the ground anymore. You don't even realize it, and coming back at a slower pace, and just kind of going like, I feel more grounded. I feel refreshed.
Good.
I feel more in harmony with my family, having spent so much time together like that, and that was such a huge blessing. And
That's validating.
that is. We still love each other after being together almost 24/7 for 3 months. And yeah, and then that you kind of go, oh, that is restful. There's peace in that.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of rest than our culture is just about, just laying on a chair and doing nothing for a long period of time. That's what they call rest. Yeah. But there's a sense of peace, which is a rest that's more internal than maybe physical sometimes. But yeah.
Well, and just that idea of biblical rest too. I mean, the whole idea, actually, even of the way that the Jews oriented their days, and even you can see this in the creation account, where at the end of each day of creation, it says there was evening and there was morning the first day. There was evening and there was morning the second day. And so it wasn't that there was day and then evening the first day, evening the second day, evening and morning first day. And so the Jewish people always began their day at sunset, and the day would go until the next sunset, and that's when that's when the day started. So it was evening was the beginning, which is an interesting way to think about life if you were to reframe things in that way. Not, just to consider what this means is that you can begin in rest and then wake up rested to begin. And resting is actually surrendering to the God who has your life in his hands. And so, because you just think about, just think about sleeping, when you're asleep, you're vulnerable, man. Like you're as vulnerable as you're going to be, Sometimes I wake up and there are audio recordings of me snoring, and I didn't give permission for that. I was vulnerable and I was taking advantage. But
we made a pact in our marriage not to take pictures of each other while they're sleeping, because I love doing that, but I'm too afraid of that. So
don't ask for the evidence, by the way. But we're vulnerable, right? And so we're surrendering to God. And then we wake up. And so that's actually how our Christian week is established. So we begin in worship. We begin. So rest, like our culture, again, thinks that rest is something that's earned after a bunch of work. You work, check out, and then
live for the weekend.
Live for the weekend. And if we begin in rest, begin orienting ourselves in God's presence, surrender time to him, and then allow him to bless the rest of our week, then that week is reframed, and it's not about us controlling the day. I give the same advice to people. I mean, when we talk about like doing daily devotions, and I always recommend doing that first thing if possible. And I've kind of gotten myself to the place where I sort of have this phrase in my mind, like I want the first word that I hear to be a word from God, And the first word that I speak be a word to God. So the first word that I hear, I want to be from him, from his word. The first word that I speak be to him in prayer. And so just beginning a day, not waking up going, here's my task list. I got to jump out of bed, get after it.
Yeah, what I miss.
You know, it's just like, no, begin surrendering that time and letting God fill it. And then you'll recognize that he's got the day, you know.
Yeah.
It's not your day to control, like
right.
He's got it, you know. So it's just like all of these opportunities on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, maybe on a every 7 year, 10 year, you know, however long basis, to figure out a way to structure a life where you can get a solid chunk of time, you know.
It makes me think through like the commandment of giving your first fruits in like sacrifice or offering to God. And like when we practice that now, those are our offerings. We give our day and rest to God. And how often we stay up too late and we regret it and take from that and not fully charged. Or like waking up and giving your first moments of the day to God and the orientation of that, and how much more life you feel like you have in the day, and how aligned you are with Christ by giving him first, which is such a hard thing to do. Going like a lot of times we tithe out of, I got some spare change left over. And we do so much of our life with this. These are the fumes I have left, versus just like throwing it all out and going, we need to do a deep overhaul, reorientation. Like we're gonna clean the whole garage out. We're taking all this junk out. We're gonna restructure it and then move forward in that. So it's funny how that aligns with all the Old Testament narratives of what do you give God first, the moments that are easy or the ones that are hard. So
well, awesome. Well, you were missed here, and we are excited to have you and your family back. And I know
it's good to be back.
Yeah, and I know you already said it multiple times here, but I'll just echo it as well to those of you who supported Marcus in your prayers, your words of encouragement, your financial contributions. All of that is so deeply appreciated.
Definitely.
And I know it was the same for us, for you guys. And so, you know, if you're members of this church or support us in the ministry, like we feel that love, that support in so many ways. And so thank you for tending to us and to our families. And we hope that in the ways that we can care and love and support you in your walk of faith and life, that's just a small reflection of what you've done for us.
So huge.
Yeah. Awesome, buddy. Well, let's get after it. You got work to do.
I do.
All right, peace.
See ya.